Iraq, a country and its people all too familiar with the conflict. In 2014, Islamic State militants proclaimed a self-styled caliphate and occupied a large part of the country. Iraq paid a heavy price for defeating ISIL fighters. The United Nations says more than 18,000 civilians were killed, while nearly 6 million people were displaced. On this edition of Assignment Asia, we travel across Iraq to explore the aftermath of the conflict and witness how people are beating the odds to stand up again. We begin in Mosul, Iraq's second largest city.
هذا معطل ماي عاطل.
2 months after returning to the old city of Mosul, Khalid Ibrahim reopened his appliance repair business.
راح يتفلش المعطور.
The shop was destroyed and looted during the 9-month battle to retake Mosul from ISIL militants.
كمل البيت يم جوا. كملت منظفة البيت ويم بشغلات مضروبة واي ما عملتوها. متى ضروري. يعني هسه أنا بيتي حتى بلا باب. باب ماكو هسه تريدون تشوفون ماكو. صوب على الخشب علشان ما عندي اشتري مال غاز. هاي الشيء. البيت متفلش عوض عند الله لان الحكومه ما تعوض ما تعرفين الحكومه ماكو تعويض بس الله يعوض والخيرين طيبين.
Khalid says the business hasn't been doing well as most people in the neighborhood have little money to spend. In another part of town, Shatha Khalil takes care of 10 orphans. Members of her family were either killed by air strikes or abducted by ISIL fighters.
بلكت إن شاء الله من فزعة من منخوة كل من يجي نجيب الكيوي يروح ما يجي بطانيات صوبات نطلب غراض مشلحين جينا على بيوتنا كل شيء ما عندنا بطرق الثوب غير نطلب مساعدة ما بس اللي أنا أريد جيراني الدكيكين دخل على الشباب معزلي دكيكين بتضرروا.
Iraqi forces and a US-led coalition launched the battle to recapture Mosul in October 2016. The campaign lasted until July the following year. US commanders say it's the deadliest urban combat since World War II. Driving through Mosul's narrow streets, we find it difficult to see a fully intact building. The UN estimates that 40,000 homes were destroyed or damaged in the conflict, some of them historic sites like the Al-Nuri Mosque. The fight displaced nearly half of the city's 1.8 million people, with an unofficial death toll of around 10,000. Amnesty International accused ISIL fighters of violating international humanitarian law for crimes like abductions, mass killings, and the use of child soldiers. Most of the buildings in the old city of Western Mosul still lie in ruins. Under the rubble are the rotting corpses of the dead militants and civilians. There are also unexploded munitions and booby traps set by ISIL militants. The dangers are still there, hindering the city's reconstruction. The Iraqi government has prepared a multi-year plan to reconstruct the city. At the Kuwait Donor Conference in February 2018, Baghdad said it required at least $88 billion for short and medium-term reconstruction. But the countries attending the event offered slightly over $30 billion, mostly in credit facilities and investments over several years. Disappointed officials say, with the federal funding running slow, they would need at least 20 years to rebuild destroyed areas. Khalid, like many others, says he just couldn't wait that long.
والله ما تاخذ وقت طويل ما تاخذ وقت طويل فلوس الفلوس هي اللي تعمر هسه انطيني فلوس ابو المجاري موجود اللباخ موجود البنا موجوده كمل بس من ما تنطيني فلوس لا قاعد اصيح يا ليل
In Mosul alone, officials have put the initial repair cost at $50 billion. For many residents, settling back into an old place where everything has changed is a daunting challenge. We drove out of Mosul and went westward to Mount Sinjar, where tens of thousands of Yazidis were forced to take refuge following ISIL's mass killing of their people. We are now on our way to Sinjar mountain where the Yazidis are living. We can see from the car window that many villages have been destroyed and abandoned. It isn't difficult to imagine just what happened there. Along the road, we saw reminders of the brutality, a memorial on the mountain slope for those killed, and writings on the wall. On August 3, 2014, ISIL launched an attack on the Yazidis, largely because of religious differences. The PLO's Medicine Journal estimates that some 3,100 people were killed, with more than half shot, beheaded or burned alive, and about 6,800 kidnapped to become sex slaves or fighters. The UN has formally recognized the killings as genocide. About 2,000 Yazidi families live in this camp. They survived the massacre after fleeing to this mountain valley. Creator Suleiman and his neighbors are on their third year here.
هاي صار 4 سنين بهاي الشادر كله صار مشقوقة على البرد وعلى الشمس كله مشقوقة وأريد منكم من حكومة من دولة إنسان يساعدون ما خلي يساعدون وهاي المولد مالنا مولد مال الكهرب هاي صار 2.5 شهر ما مشغلة على المود الغاز والعطلات والدهن مال المحرك وحاجة هاي العطلات مالنا أريد تسويها سوي شارع وحلنا علينا الله خليكم.
More than 14 people live inside this tent in squalid conditions. Suleiman's daughter-in-law, Basma, is worried about her child's worsening health.
نايق مسألة مساعدك هاي بقى نبخذ بدسي خنا بدا بيخذ تشتكي نكاري هم يطعمونه بالشلل
نعم شلل
دماغي تاخذ بيجن كاي مسألة كاري بقوتها هذه تراجع عند الدولة تدراف جراحات ويتشي بفجاج مناي كهذا مكاري يعني أزبراجعين.
Still, these people consider themselves lucky to have survived the violence. Religious celebrations like this are an opportunity for them to express their gratitude. Ibrahim is the coordinator of the community for displaced Yazidis on Mount Sinjar. He says for centuries they have been persecuted for their religion, one of the world's oldest faiths, which combines elements from Zoroastrianism, Islam and Christianity.
ترى مشكلتنا احنا الدستور همش اليزيدية ما عندنا اسم بالدستور، ما عندنا حقوق، ما عندنا تفصيل بالدولة، ولهذا احنا ناس مهمشين. ماكو حشاكم كالغنم يعني ما حد يهتم بنا، لأن لا يوجد هوية لليزيديين في الدستور العراقي على أي استناد.
Ibrahim says medical facilities are among their most urgent needs.
علاج ماكو، سالت ولادة. هل من المعقول آلاف العوائل الموجودة بمنطقة لا يوجد سالة ولادة؟ هذه من الضرورات الأساسية والواجبات الأساسية للإنسان.
According to local legend, Mount Sinjar was the final stop of Noah's Ark, a vessel used to escape the giant flood depicted in the Bible. But for these displaced Yazidis, it's far from a safe haven, as they continue to struggle just to survive. After the break, we head to Diyala province and its neighboring Baghdad where people are pressing on against the odds. In Diyala province, which ISIL captured in June 2014, residents displaced by conflict are returning home. But they have to face a different challenge: the infectious disease leishmaniasis, or Baghdad boil. The outbreak is taking hold of the town of Udaim. In January 2018, some 500 cases were recorded. Hanna is taking her 7-month-old daughter for treatment. A total of 6 people in her family have developed symptoms. The skin infection is caused by leishmania parasites transmitted by sand flies. Without treatment, the disease could take several months or even years to heal. Every day, this health center sees a huge influx of patients with Baghdad boil. The initial phase brings a lot of suffering as it causes pain and itchiness, and even when it's healed, a scar will be left there forever. 12-year-old Safa is worried about his prolonged suffering.
صار 5 أشهر من 4-3 من جت ضوجني كل ما نام هيك يعني انقلب الطق دم.
Katan, a medical assistant at the local healthcare center, says the conflict has contributed to the outbreak of leishmaniasis.
هالمرض مو دائما بعد التهجير لانه كان 2 متروك المنطقه وسبب المكافحه ماكو ذباب وبعوض وهالشغلات تنقلها اللي تنقلها بس هو مو دائمي. كان قبل ما موجود يعني صار قبل فتره ماكو ابد بس من تهجرها ورجعوا يصير هذا الشيء.
Incessant bombing during ISIL's occupation of Udaim destroyed the town's only hospital. In March 2017, recovery efforts were initiated to meet rising medical demands.
So this primary healthcare center, Al Udaim, is the only facility that is 30 kilometers away from the center of the Diyala Governorate. It serves around 40,000 population. So previously they were working in a tent. The poor sanitation, crowded place with the very primitive health services provided to this population.
This medical center is well equipped to provide preventive and curative care for local residents. But now it has to find a better way to contain the spread of Baghdad boil. Another challenge facing Diyala's residents is the lack of safe drinking water. In the neighborhood, there have been efforts to find solutions. A large number of internally displaced people swarmed into this area after ISIL militants seized nearby cities in 2014. People failed to find clean and healthy water. There was even an outbreak of cholera. But now, this water project is now supplying safe drinking water to more than 6,000 nearby villages. The International Committee of the Red Cross helped establish 2 compact water units to supply water to people in 3 villages nearby. Across Diyala province, 5 water projects are in operation.
The pressure now is about 5 bar. Okay, it works 5 bar. ICRC coming here, rehabilitate everything, changing everything, and push, and also pumping the water, treated water to the IDPs and also the community who is living here. We use here the chlorine system, chlorine gas, which is used in most of the countries. It's modern way to disinfection of the bacteria and everything like this, and pumping this water, treated water to the people.
People in the village used to get sick after drinking untreated water. Many suffered from typhoid fever and diarrhea, while some had intestinal worms.
ومرت علينا سنوات يعني عندنا المي ضعيف يعني وغير معقم سبب لنا امراض ومشاكل احيانا احنا ما نعرف بها ما ندري بها يعني الى ان نوصل دكتور او المستشفى فيخبرنا بانه سبب المرض هذا هو سبب المي. والقريه بشكل عام ايضا حريصه على يعني التقليل من صرف الماء او هدر الماء خلينا نقول حتى نحافظ عليه يعني لان هاي يعني هذا العمل هو ليس يعني اسبوع او سنه او يعني سنوات.
Decades of armed conflict, violence and high unemployment have left millions of Iraqis struggling to make ends meet. With the war against ISIL now over, meeting people's basic needs has become a fresh challenge for authorities. Yet a bigger task is bringing back economic stability and working out solutions to increase family incomes. For women supporting their families, the challenge is even greater. But in the capital Baghdad, some are rising above their circumstances with the help of international aid. Yasmin started sewing 4 years ago. It was the same year she got married and then ended her relationship. Her job allows the 21-year-old to survive a difficult time.
أول شيء أنا بديت يعني بعد ما اتطلقت طبعا يعني اجيت عند اهلي فبديت بماكينه صغيره يعني اذا تعرفين هاي البراذر المنزلي احنا نسميها اي فبوقتها اخذتها وكنت توني يعني متعلمه واني اول ما بديت اخيط طبعا.
In August 2017, Yasmin received a grant from the International Committee of the Red Cross. That enabled her to buy new sewing machines and improve her family's income.
زاد انه هذا المشروع بتحسن البيت لان تعرفين مثلا اني والدي رجال كبير بالعمر هم يلا يقدر يعني ما يقدر يعني حتى لو يشتغل او هيجي وبالذات بهاي الظروف تعرفين يعني انه شغل قليل واصلا معدوم يعني اللي يقدر يشتغل او هذا يعني الا شاطر كلش. فالحمد لله أي يعني رفع من مستوى معيشتنا للأمانة كمستواي أنا الشخصي أكثر يعني.
The primary purpose of a microeconomic initiative is to support cash income generation. More than 300,000 people across Iraq have benefited from the programs. Most of them low-income families affected by the conflict. It's not only helped them survive, but also regain a role in society. Ala Mustafa works for the International Red Cross. She says Yasmin is an inspiration to Iraqi women.
For divorcee or maybe the women in general, women suffering and they need this project because they had the talent, they had kind of skills and motivation to start over. She was follow her business plan. This is correct because if you start your job, you should work on a kind of business that reach you to the point that make you in progress and manage to cover your needs.
The family lives in a predominantly Shiite neighborhood in southern Baghdad. Some ended up here after escaping sectarian conflicts. Yasmin's family relocated from the neighboring Diyala province 12 years ago.
ووالدي مع هذا يعني انه كانوا بالمنطقه يعرفوا انه هو مفوض سابق بالشرطه فتهدد فقال يعني فوالدي طلع وبعدها احنا توفت بيبيتي صادف بنفس الفتره احنا طلعنا ودياله بالكامل صار بيها القاعده يعني الارهاب.
Yasmin dreams of opening her own fashion shop or factory before she turns 25. She says the financial assistance she received has allowed her to cope with the tough times and bring out the best in herself. After the break, we visit Erbil in Iraq's Kurdistan region, where a rehab center is helping those injured by conflict stand on their own feet again. Tens of thousands of Iraqis have fallen victim to explosive devices following decades of conflict in the country. The situation worsened after 3 years of fighting Islamic State militants. Many lost their body parts and found it difficult to integrate into society. Ali lost both legs while returning to his hometown in Anbar province.
رجعت للرمادي تا اروح لبيتنا اشوف بيتنا. جيت للبيت لقيته واقع. صرت بباب الحوش وصار علي انفجار. انفجرت علي عبوه ناسفه. وبسدي ولد بالجيش. هم جو اسعفوني. اسعفوني المستشفى الرمادي وسووا لي العمليه. بغيت 15 يوم مستشفى الرمادي.
Following the battle to retake Mosul, this rehab center in Erbil saw rising numbers of patients in 2017, nearly 6,000 for the whole year. Many were internally displaced people as well as refugees from war-torn Syria.
We are now the only active center, almost active centers in the whole north of Iraq. So people from other governorates like Kirkuk, like Nineveh, we are the only center for the time being who can provide physical rehabilitation services to them.
The Author Center has received about 8,000 amputees since it was launched in 1996. More than 60% of the cases are conflict-related, mostly involving landmines or mortar attacks. As the demand remains high, patients have to wait at least 10 weeks to be seen. This workshop produces prosthetics to replace missing body parts and orthotics to assist weak ones. They are provided for free to registered patients, the number of which hit over 12,000 since the center was established.
We do use polypropylene technology, where most of the parts are made of polypropylene, and so it is lighter and it is more available in other countries. It is cheap in price, and you can solve a lot of problems in it, so you can serve many patients with the same technology.
For many patients, adapting to new limbs can be a painful process.
First, we're doing the training inside the parallel. If that is good balance and the level is okay, everything's nice, we came out to out of the parallel. We check everything, the alignments, food, shoes, everything is okay. We're going to outdoors training for the stairs, for the ramps, for the sun, everything we have. When everything is okay, we will sign and we send back to our factory inside. They make a last assembling like cosmetic one. When the cosmetics is finished, the patient will receive.
Patients learn to stand, walk, and eventually use stairs.
حيل وضعي صار زين يعني بالأطراف. تغيرت نفسيتي شوية. هسه جاي أتعلم عني شوي أمشي. بس أواجه صعوبة بحياتي يعني إني شغل ما عاد أقدر أشتغل. هسه أمشي الأطراف الصناعية بس شغل ما أقدر أشتغل.
We will need to work on a sustainable approach so that we can help the individuals to find some sustainable livelihood activities which is accompanying the whole reconstruction phase. It takes much more time to rebuild, obviously, and to bring Iraq back to a good level, a national level with access to education and good health system. And that is a big challenge, which we see increasing from conflict to conflict.
As they begin their long journey to recovery, Iraq's Kurds are also on a quest to preserve their identity as a people. That came into play during a non-binding referendum on independence in September 2017, which caused tensions with Baghdad. For the Kurds, that identity is symbolized by the citadel, a fortress high up on a mound, also known as the Crown of Erbil. It's where many historic civilizations and their people have come and gone, including the Babylonians and Assyrians. The citadel is considered one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world. In 2014, it was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The citadel was home to 6,000 residents at its height. When the restoration work started in 2007, all inhabitants except one family were evicted. And this family stayed to maintain the citadel's status as continually inhabited. Khalis Yonis runs an antiques shop. It's full of Kurdish traditional items and relics.
In the upstairs also, look in here, I have this one from Babylon.
It's an old Bible.
Yes.
Khalis says the citadel has a history of 8,000 years.
My father, my grandfather.
He takes us to the house where he was born.
I am born in here in the...
It was built more than 200 years ago.
This one. One wife go. Between 10 and 13 family, small family. A small family living in here. Okay. Yes, because this one very big house. All the before 50 years, 60, 70 years, in the citadel, living Turkoman peoples and Jewish born also in the citadel, in the Erbil. But in the 1936, Jewish complete go to Israel.
This is the citadel's ancient Grand Mosque, considered the oldest in Erbil. It's a Juma prayer day. Imam Sheikh Mohammed believes the history of the citadel brings people together.
تاريخك هي أو خلقية هي بابو بابيرانيا كبابو بابيران اللي رجعنا ضليان بو خاكية كلي جاينا بو مزقوتي كبابو بابيران ميجان تدا كرديا لو يجي است خلقك مالي شي دورة لبر أو بأصل خلشي قراتي وينا أو خوش عندبي زيقة لوش أو هم شوية شي دينية فرزقايا زي عبادتي خوي تبارك وتعالى فزياتر عاطفة زيادة يجبوها.
The Imam says their religion has taught Kurdish people to respect one another. As they and the rest of Iraq rebuild from the aftermath of ISIL's occupation, it's also where they draw their strength and resilience. In December 2017, the Iraqi government declared the end of the war and its victory against ISIL. But the militants continue to launch sporadic attacks across the country. This, along with inadequate funding, hinders Iraq's recovery. Many experts say Iraq has a long way to go in restoring stability and meeting its people's basic needs. It remains unknown just how long it will take to put everything back in order. For Assignment Asia, I'm Meng Qingsheng in Iraq.